It is the eve of the conference championship games before we head to the Super Bowl. Who is going? I thought, hey, why not make a video sharing my Hall of Fame football card autograph collection? I'm going to try to do this somewhat John Mangini style. I'm not going to completely copy him with the white glove service and that sort of thing, but I'm going to do my best. Also, thanks, John, for the recent dialogue. I hope to keep that going. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the Mangini Collection YouTube channel. He does a great job with his vintage collection of showing the cards, but then also kind of telling a story about the player. You learn something, typically every single episode. He'll talk about the player, maybe something during that time period, historical, that's interesting. So definitely check out John's channel, the Mangini Collection. All right, I got a bunch of stuff in front of me. Let's actually start with, before I get into the autograph stuff, you guys know that I'm on a little bit of a buying probation, just kind of watching things, but was able to negotiate this purchase with my wife. It is a 2019 Select Tom Brady Maroon, numbered out of 149 in a 10 grade. You guys know I collect the GOAT. As much as I can't stand that he plays for the Bucks, I do collect a lot of Tom Brady stuff, and I really do like kind of the color parallel prism. I really like the Prism products, and this is a year before Select really ruined things when they went from just hobby to also hobby and retail for the 2020 product. And I don't buy any of the Bucks stuff. It's got to be Patriots unis. So I won't buy like the 2020 Bucks color prisms and those sorts of things. So it's got to be Patriot uni, but this is maroon color, so it's sort of like a Bucks color match to some degree. I just thought it was a cool card. I was watching it and it was on auction. It went for a price lower than I thought that it was going to go for, so I threw in a bid for it and it worked out. All right, so we're talking about autographs today. This goes back really to my childhood. Like I told you guys, I've started out 1987 is when I started through about 1994. About 7 years of my childhood was in the hobby. And one thing I like to do is, it's now called TTM, I've learned, through the mail. I know this, you guys are like, what the hell are you even talking about? But I used to send off letters to players when I was a kid. These are examples of cards that were hopefully signed by the player, but really have no idea. Troy Aikman, this is back in the heyday when the Cowboys were amazing with Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin. Jerome Bettis, when he was a Ram. Shannon Sharp, before he battled Skip Bayless. And the late, great Reggie White. I thought this was a cool card with the Bible. I believe he became a pastor after he retired, but maybe it was during his playing days he was doing that as well. But I just thought that was kind of a cool card. And now, especially that he's passed, just a really cool one to get signed. And again, I hope that these were actually signed by the players. You write a letter to them, you send a card in that hopefully they sign. And what was so fun is going to the mailbox and seeing your own handwriting, because it's a self-addressed stamped envelope. So you send the two envelopes out, and so the one coming back to you is the one that you put together. So that was always really fun. I remember getting home from school, running to the mailbox to see if any of these had come back, and it was a fairly inexpensive way to hobby. And so I've thought about doing that. Unfortunately, none of my kids right now are really big into any particular athletes to go out and get autographs for, but that's something that I would like to go back to potentially. So we'll see. All right, let's dive into this thing. So obvious Hall of Famer number 1, Jameis Winston. Man, I missed on this guy. All right, this one was a joke. All right, Jameis, obviously not a Hall of Famer, and as it looks currently, isn't going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm a diehard New Orleans Saints fan. I don't really prospect on QBs, but before the season, got this for a very reasonable price. It is numbered out of 75, and I got it slabbed up with SGC. None of these cards I'm going to talk about are for sale, except for this one. This is the one that I guess I would part with because it doesn't look like he's going to be on the Saints anymore, and I'm not a Bucks fan. Michael Ham, if you watch this, let me know, buddy. All right, time to get serious. First year exquisite Barry Sanders on card. Is this one? I think it's numbered. Maybe it's not numbered. It is numbered 35 out of 35. Got this a few years back. I'm a huge Barry Sanders fan growing up. He was, to me, he's the greatest running back of all time. And I know, depending on generationally, Walter Payton fans out there, Jim Brown fans out there, so different eras, you're going to have different opinions on it. But for me, I've just never seen a player quite like Barry Sanders still today. There's a lot of great scat backs, Marshall Faulk was awesome. Alvin Kamara plays for the Saints. He's great. There's a lot of great runners, but Barry Sanders was just very unique in the way that he played. So I'm biased towards Barry Sanders. We'll stay on the running back train. Earl Campbell. Is this one National Treasures? No, it's Flawless, and it's numbered out of 20 on-card autograph. One thing I really like about football cards, for whatever reason, a lot of the all-time greats, these cards are really fairly inexpensive in comparison to if you look over to baseball and even some of the basketball stuff. So you got guys like Earl Campbell, on-card autograph, can be pretty inexpensive. And what I like to do is buying those cards raw, like that one in particular, and sending to SGC because I like the 10 auto grade. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm biased towards SGC. They are a channel partner. I like the fact that they offer kind of that auto grade right off the top without any added cost. Assuming it's a 10 grade, they won't put a 9 grade on the slab, just like their service, quick turnaround, all of that stuff. So I typically buy these raw if I can. I'll buy them graded on occasion if it comes down to it, but a lot of times there's just great raw cards out there and then I'll send them off. This would be another example of where I did that. Bart Starr. I really want a Bart Starr on-card Packers card, but they're very expensive. Whereas the Alabama version, I think this card raw cost me $60 or $70. It's numbered to 75, so it's not some mega rare card, but it was just more about the on-card autograph that I just really, really liked. And it is Exquisite, so it's a great brand. 2012 Exquisite. Bart Starr, legendary guy. His rookie card is really my big chase card this year. I've got a couple of Johnny Unitas rookie cards, and a PSA 4 and a PSA 6 are the ones I've got, but the Star is one that has evaded me. I only want one copy of that. And last year I was looking at the National. There was copies there I could have pulled the trigger on, but it just wasn't quite the right one. So that's where I'm really looking this year, is to make a splash with a Bart Starr rookie card. Another great running back, Eric Dickerson. Flawless has awesome products. And again, inexpensive card. The card raw was under $100. Send it off to SGC. Just cool. Very, very cool. Eric Dickerson, another guy that's just kind of lost in the pantheon of amazing runners. Here's an underrated guy. Steve Largent. Steve Largent, Hall of Fame receiver for the Seahawks. Wes Welker before Wes Welker, Edelman before Edelman, maybe. I like this guy's story because he was just an absolute workhorse. Not necessarily the most athletic guy on the field, but just worked his butt off. And then just, if you look at his life story, I think there's a Football Life or one of those ESPN specials about his life in particular. He's, had a tough upbringing, just inspiring story. So check that out. Steve Largent, I'm just a big fan of the guy in general. And so I've got a few of these. Steve Largent, a couple of these, excuse me. This one is 2006 Donruss National Treasures, when Donruss had National Treasures. This one includes a game-used patch as well. It's cool too, because when you go back to kind of these early 2000s, a lot of the 90s cards, they're a lot more specific in their wording on the card. So this one actually says authentic jersey personally worn by Steve Largent in an official NFL game. So not necessarily, which game, but it's still cool that it says that. Nowadays, as we know, you'll see this patch or this card is not associated with a player. It's not even associated with a player. So I really like these 2006 Donruss National Treasures. Check out the set in general, but some cool stuff there for Steve Largent. Everybody talks about Tom Brady and his 7 titles. There's another guy that has 7 titles, Otto Graham. This is the Otto Graham rookie card, not necessarily Otto, but the Otto, pun unintended. Otto Graham is a legend of the game. A lot of folks will just say, hey, different era, zero competition and this or that or whatever. In basketball, baseball, this is the same argument in football of like, hey, these guys weren't playing against the type of athletes that are out there today. Okay, that's fine. They were also playing in different conditions. They were also wearing leather helmets, etc. So, that's a fun debate. But Otto Graham is one of those guys. He's a forgotten legend out there. And so if you go back to the 90s and the early 2000s, there's some cool sets that have on-card autographs. And I think I appreciate these a lot more too, because like I said, I stopped collecting in about 94. I was 13, 14 years old is where I kind of took my hobby break before I came back in. And so I missed a lot of these cool chase cards that came out later on. And so this one is numbered out of 2,500, which back in 1994, that was low numbered, So, but just a cool card. It's on card. Here's another one, early 2000s Upper Deck. honestly, early 2000s Upper Deck stuff, whether you're looking at basketball, football, there's just a lot of really neat stuff. Fleer baseball too. Early 2000s Fleer baseball sets. I've been picking up Barry Bonds stuff. Very, very cool. And it's game used bats, game used jersey stuff. I mean, it's really neat. Kind of a unique card here. Fleer. Back when a bunch of companies had licenses. But this one's inscribed, with Hall of Fame. I really like Otto inscriptions. It adds a little bit of flair to it. So that is Otto Graham. All right, we're going to go to Broadway Joe. This is a flawless, is it 2018? Yeah, 2018. There's a variety of these. Joe's signed a lot of things, but they've gotten more and more expensive. I was fortunate enough to get this one before prices kind of moved up. But this one, it's not a game used patch or anything. It's just kind of a regular patch, but I like the fact that it's 2 colors. And then the on-card auto is really, really clean for this one. So I was glad to pick this one up. And then I've got a couple more. Going back again, I really love this card. I picked this up at my local Raleigh show, and this is 2001 Donruss Elite Passing the Torch. There's another card that's like this. It's numbered out of, it's either 50 or 100, but it's got Chad Pennington. It's a duel on it. Duels are great if it's 2 Hall of Famers or 2 great players. But a lot of times it's, Jamarcus Russell is the other one on it, or whatever. And it's the same with this, Chad Pennington's on the other one. This is the one that's just Joe, and it's numbered out of 100. Very, very cool cards. There's also awesome like Walter Payton versions of this that are very, very expensive. I have 2 copies of this card, actually. The other one is out for grading right now. So Broadway Joe, there's some really cool stuff. I thought this one was an on card when I bought it, but it's actually a sticker. This is one where online it looked like it was on card, but it's not. It's Upper Deck Premier inscriptions. Oh, one set too to check out if you're looking into this is Flawless Penmanship autos, and there's really nice on-card autos. I'll show one here in a little bit, but legendary players in football that not super expensive, but it's flawless penmanship. All right, so that's Joe. We'll throw in a couple underrated guys, I think. You guys know Troy Aikman. It's late 90s, 1998 SP Authentic. Kind of numbered out of 100. The written, some people don't like it when it's written on there like that, but I don't mind it so much. On-card autograph. And this is one of my favorite cards. Panini Vertex Warren Moon on-card auto, and it is game used, right? Game worn materials, yes. And that's part of the reason why I like this particular set. This is 2017 Vertex football. And Warren Moon, I really wish Houston would go back to being the Oilers. The colors and everything, and the old helmets. Just so awesome. And now it's the Texans, and it just looks, I don't know, their logo's okay. I just really wish that they would go back and be the Oilers. But anyway, Warren Moon, gunslinger back in the day, really just underrated guy. He didn't win a title, and that's probably part of why he's somewhat forgotten, but that was amazing to watch. All right, best defensive player of all time. No, I'm not talking about Aaron Donald or some of these other new guys. I'm talking about LT. And this is, again, going back to that Donruss National Treasures. This is the 2007 instead of the 2006 where we showed the other, the Steve Largent. And it's game-used stuff. It is a sticker auto, unfortunately. But if you're looking for kind of the game-used stuff, go back to Donruss National Treasures 2006-07. I don't know if there's an 8, but 2006 and 2007. This is another sticker auto, unfortunately, but my wife went to UNC. She's a Tar Heel, so I thought this was really cool. It's game-used materials. It's a 1-of-1. This particular LT, sent it off to SGC for grading. Just a unique card, the fact that it's got UNC and we're UNC fans. And then, unfortunately, a sticker auto again, but the dude's a legend. This one is on card. Impeccable. Numbered out of 25. BGS 8, so again, not a super expensive card, but just a really, really cool card. Going back in time a little bit, this was a set that I found fairly recently, and I didn't realize this when I was collecting these cards. 1991 Proline Portraits football had autograph cards in it. And I opened a lot of this stuff. This is a really cool set. It'll take you back in time. I opened a box of this at, this past National? Was it the National? I think it was this past National with one of my buddies, Dave. We opened a couple boxes of Proline portraits looking for these autographs. They are not easy to find at all. They have a little kind of a certification marking right here. They're also, though, forged. There are some fakes out there, some fakery going on with these. And then, you know what's kind of tricky too that people do is they do this TTM or in-person autographs and they get these cards signed, but it's not the certified versions. It's the regular version of the card, but they're selling it as the auto card, but it's not the auto card that came in packs. It's one that they got in person or TTM. So watch out for that if you look into this. But this one in particular was $70 or $75 on eBay. And I wasn't really interested in like the graded being an 8.5. That was kind of a bonus, but you just don't see these cards very much. And these actually might be some of the very first autograph cards for football. I mean, this is going back to 1991. I don't think there was any autograph pack pulled football cards in 1990. I could be wrong. I think there's a few sets in 91, this one being one of those. But when I was a kid, I had no idea there was autograph cards that were inserted into these. No clue whatsoever. So that's kind of a cool thing. If you're about my age, didn't know that, that's something you can look at. They're on eBay. I've got a few of them. I've got Rice, I've got Thurman Thomas, I've got Gail Sayers, which I'll show you here in a few minutes. My only other Jerry Rice autograph, and this is one where I just wanted an on-card, it is the College Uni. It's 2014 Exquisite, so really great brand. Obviously, the thing is a brick. I don't mind the College Uni stuff, especially if it's exquisite football, if it's a great set, you know, like this. So picked it up. The greatest receiver of all time? Yes, Randy Moss people, Rice is the greatest. All right, we were talking about 91 Proline, Gail Sayers. Look at that chunky autograph on this thing. Gail Sayers, some say kind of the Barry Sanders before the Barry Sanders. I don't know if he was quite Barry Sanders, but shifty, really shifty running back. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to watch this guy play. But again, you can go back to the late 90s, early 2000s. I just thought this one was awesome. 1999 Sports Illustrated autographs. Again, not really concerned with the actual card grade, just looking for the 10 auto. It's on card. Gail Sayers has a wicked autograph, just really nice looking autograph. So thought that was cool. All right, I kind of cheated here a little bit. This guy is not in the actual NFL Hall of Fame, but as a Saints fan, he is in the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame. It's Archie Manning, the patriarch that created Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, that stopped Tom Brady from having, 10 rings instead of 7? And I don't know if this guy trolled me when I bought this, but included Jake Delhomme and some other Saints players. I just never actually took these cards out. I don't know if he was trolling me or if this was actually just, hey, here's some extra Saints cards. Jake Delhomme was actually a Panther as well. So, but anyway, Archie Manning. This is one that I got recently that, again, it's the flawless penmanship that I was talking about. These cards are wicked, and you can get legendary NFL players. Some are very expensive, but there's a lot of great players in there that are less than $100. Flawless on-card autograph. Pretty cool. Another guy that I'll quickly show, it's my big PC guy that is not in the Hall of Fame yet, but he'll be a first balloter. This one I got at the National. This is a Panini 1 of 1. And this one really means a lot to me because I got it at my first National where I met a lot of my buddies out there, had an absolute blast. Shout out to YouTuber Flippin' Steve and my off-centered co-host. He actually saw this one first, pointed it in my direction, and I was able to make a deal for it. The other one is one that I got recently. It's numbered out of 5, flawless, just really good on-card autograph. And then the only other one for Breeze, I do have a couple of his rookie cards that are autographed, but this one is a quad exquisite auto that's got Colston, and then it's also got Antonio Pittman, which is not necessarily, or was it Pittman? Or yeah, it's Pittman and Robert Meacham. So I like the Meacham. Antonio Pittman, I think, might have been on with us for maybe a season or two, but just kind of cool where it's that quad auto patch thing. I mean, Exquisite does some exquisite things with cards. And last but certainly not least, guys, we've got a Marshall Faulk Immaculate on-card auto with the game-used materials. And this one, again, it was less than $100. Marshall Faulk is one of the all-time best running backs, Super Bowl champ. So it was cool to pick that up. This is stuff that I will continue to add to my collection, but wanted to share with you all. Guys, let's have a great football weekend. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.